He was the king of the wolf clan. Yet, he chose to hide his power, posing as a part-time handyman at the school. One day, the girl accidentally witnessed his transformation, forging an unbreakable bond between her and the Wolf King. Whenever she got upset, the Wolf King would instantly revert to his true form. But when she smiled, tiny blossoms would bloom on top of his head. She might have been a pampered eyes, but her favorite pastime at school was collecting discarded treasures. That day, Su Ting had just picked up an old newspaper when the front page headline caught her eye. Recently, a series of brutal animal attacks had shaken Chib City. Victims were found with every bone shattered, their bodies mangled, and even their hearts missing. She muttered to herself, could there really be wild beasts roaming outside the city? Then shrugged. None of that mattered. What mattered was, could she claim all the school's newspapers for herself? Suddenly, a sharp squeal came from behind. A group of girls was gushing over the new repairman. Tall, dangerously handsome, with a wild charm that made hearts race. Yet sometimes just meeting his gaze was enough to send a shiver down the spine and make them want to run. That's when one girl spotted Su Ting behind them and sneered, well, if it isn't the trash girl. Picking up junk again, little dummy. Su Ting blinked innocently, pointing to the newspaper in her hand. You mean this? This sells for 50 cents a kilo. If it's an old edition, it's worth even more. This isn't trash, it's money. You just don't get it. The other girl's temper flared instantly. Oh, so picking up garbage makes you feel special now. You've been hiding behind that head injury playing dumb, and you're still at it. As he closed in step by step, Su Ting instinctively backed away in fear. Without realizing it, her back hit the cold railing, her footing slipped, and she fell backward. She thought she was done for, but the next second, a strong hand caught the back of her neck, lifting her effortlessly into the air like a kitten. She turned her head in surprise, meeting a pair of piercing ice-cold eyes. Standing before her was a tall, striking young man, pale skin stretched over lean, defined muscles and eyes the deep, wild blue of a predator. The girls nearby froze, their hearts skipping a beat. It was the new repairman. He set Suing down on the ground and spoke in a deep, commanding voice. Back off. This area is under construction. The cold authority in his tone made them flinch. And in the next instant, the girls scattered, leaving Su Ting standing there in a daze. Do you need something else? He asked, snapping her out of it. She quickly scampered away on light, hurried steps, shivering inside. Gosh, how can just one look from him send chills down my spine? But before she got far, she turned back, walking up to him to stick a small band-aid on the back of his hand. After all, he had just saved her. Suing gave a quick, respectful bow in thanks. Then she bolted again. Yep. Still terrifying. The man watched Su Ting's figure disappear into the distance, then glanced down at the band-aid on his hand, his eyes still cold and unreadable. That afternoon after school, Heian tossed a broom into Suing's hands. You're on cleaning duty today. Do it yourself. I'm not hanging around with you. If you don't want the teacher to yell at you, make sure it's spotless. Suing opened her mouth to reply, but he cut her off. Don't even think about tattling to the teacher. The camera here's broken. No proof. And don't go blabbing about me climbing over the wall. But the next moment, Su Ting casually pushed open the iron gate. I was just going to tell you the back door isn't locked. You don't have to climb. I'll climb if I wanna. None of your business. Hai snapped, cursing under his breath as he walked off, leaving Suing to clean alone. Just as she was about to finish sweeping the yard, a sharp scream rang out from the back hill. It was Hent's voice. Could he be in trouble? She followed the sound toward the hill. But halfway there, she froze, her eyes widening in shock. Hai was lying on the ground covered in blood, while a massive black wolf loomed over him staring with unblinking eyes. What is that thing? Looked like a wolf but far too big, far beyond anything a normal wolf could be. The stench of blood filled her nose, and Suing instinctively held her breath, hiding behind a tree, silently praying she hadn't been seen. But suddenly a rustling sound came from behind her. Suing whipped around. To her horror, she watched the massive black wolf's body twist and morph into that of a man. In an instant, every news headline about the recent animal killings flashed through her mind, and the pieces fit together perfectly. So, all those people had been killed by him. Just her luck to stumble right into a nightmare like this. The man's eyes bled into a deep crimson as his voice dropped into a cold, chilling tone. Looks like a little mouse wandered in. The next moment, his figure blurred and he appeared right in front of her. Since you've seen me, I might as well eat you. As the werewolf reached for her, Suing blurted out in panic. If you're hungry, maybe you could eat something else instead. His hand paused mad, and a low chuckle escaped his lips. Oh, and what exactly should I eat? Suing cracked one eye open, thinking, maybe we can talk this out. The werewolf's smile turned sly as he pointed to the bloodied Hien lying behind her. Eat that one, and I'll let you go. Suing was about to argue, but the werewolf's expression suddenly froze. He had sensed someone approaching. Looks like you're in luck, he said, his crimson eyes locking onto her. He raised a hand to his lips, miming a zipper sealing shut. Keep your mouth shut. If I hear you say something you shouldn't, you won't be this lucky next time. Before she could react, he squeezed her fingers just slightly, and the world went dark as Su Ting collapsed. By the time the school security arrived, the werewolf was long gone, leaving only Su Ting and a blood-soaked Hien lying on the ground. Both were rushed to the hospital, and the back hill of the school fell eerily silent once more. Elsewhere, the werewolf stood atop a ridge, staring at the distant mountains in a trance. Under the cold moonlight, the silhouette of an enormous skeleton seemed to rise from the earth itself. Suddenly, a cool, clear voice sounded behind him. I heard someone saw your face. Is it handled? From the shadows emerged a massive gray wolf shifting into a graceful young woman, a goofy-looking husky trailing behind her. Just a little girl, and she didn't capture anything on their electronic devices, the man replied casually. The husky tilted its head, curious. And you're sure she won't talk? And gave a short, cold laugh. Humans are all the same. When faced with something they can't understand, they start spouting nonsense. Even if she says it out loud, no one around her will believe it. He paused, a mocking smile tugging at his lips. Some might even pray to their so-called god. But the truth is, their god is nothing more than a thief. Seeing this, the older sister said nothing more, her gaze following his toward the massive skeleton in the distance. The husky spoke up lazily. Second brother scaring little kids like, that isn't good. Playing with your food. That's more of a cat thing. Yen shot him a side glance. I only see them as toys. Yeah, but dogs are the ones who play with toys. The words had barely left the husky's mouth before Yen sent him flying 2M with a single kick. The older sister pulled something from her sleeve and handed it to him. A fragment of a heart passed down through their family. Only with it could they locate the gatekeeper, find the one guarding the complete heart, and our kind might still have a chance to survive. Yen took the fragment, his gaze returning to the mountains as he murmured softly, Wather. But then the fragment began to glow faintly, resonating with the band-aid on his hand. All three of them froze. Such a quick reaction, so the signal was absurd. A band-aid is the gatekeeper. Really? The husky had barely scoffed before earning another solid beating. The older sister's eyes narrowed. That band-aid, it belongs to the girl. Could she be connected to the heart? Or maybe the gatekeeper is actually human. Either way, we'll need to find out for sure. The next day, Yen followed the scent straight to the girl's home, a sprawling luxury villa with armed security stationed throughout the yard. He hadn't expected that this scatterbrained little thing would turn out to be a bona fide Aries. Peering through the window, he spotted her crouched on the floor. She was arranging a collection of bottles and cans she'd scavenged, fashioning them into makeshift traps. When she was done, she nodded to herself in satisfaction. No matter which direction he came from, the noise would wake her. Catching him was impossible, but at least she could be alerted, prepared for that shadowy man. Yen had assumed she was after mice. It turned out she was trying to catch him. His lips curled into a wicked grin as a mischievous idea sparked in his mind. Extending a single finger, he blew gently. In the next instant, A violent gust of wind tore through the room. With a loud clang, every single trap Suing had painstakingly set up was toppled. Watching the girl's heartbroken expression, Yen covered his mouth to stifle a laugh from outside the window. Still a hint of curiosity lingered. Why hadn't the heart fragment reacted yet? Was it simply because he wasn't close enough? With that thought, he glanced back into the room, only to see Su Ting kneeling on the floor, trembling. In her hands was a small mirror, and in its reflection, the man stood right outside her window. Oh no, he's watching me. The image of the female classmate who'd been bitten flashed in her mind. She knew she had to act now. Her gaze darted to the doorknob, and without a second thought, she lunged for it. But just as her fingers were about to touch the handle, a cold, strong hand clamped down on her wrist, followed by another covering her mouth. That same deep, icy voice whispered behind her, "I warned you not to talk. You're bold running to the police right after." Suing's eyes went wide. Why didn't they catch him? I pointed him out. How is he still here? Footsteps sounded outside the door, drawing closer. Moments later, a servant's voice called, "Miss Suing, are you all right? I thought I heard a loud noise in here. Are you inside?" Her heart pounded in her throat, desperate for the servant to save her, yet terrified the werewolf might kill to silence her. With no response from inside, the servant pushed the door open. What he saw was Su Ting standing perfectly still, looking as if nothing had happened. The servant frowned in confusion. She had been in the room all along, so why hadn't she answered? The servant glanced around the room, frowning. "What's with all this trash, Miss Sutting? You went out scavenging again. How dare you? Have you already forgotten what happened before?" After the servant went downstairs, the werewolf pushed the window open again and murmured, "You were pretty obedient just now. Not a word about me." Suing pressed her lips together and met his gaze. "Because you said anyone who discovered you would be taken away. So, can you tell me why? You attacked my classmate but didn't eat her. I saw you kill, but you didn't hurt me. You've just been following me." Even as her body trembled uncontrollably, she couldn't stop herself from demanding answers. Why was he doing this? The man's mouth curved into a cold, mocking smile. "Visit's fun. I enjoy watching my prey tremble, hearing their screams, seeing them live every moment in fear. That to me is far more satisfying than simply eating them." Suing clenched her fists in fury. "You're a psycho killer. You'll be caught sooner or later." Inwardly, she thought, if he wakes up, he can identify this black-skinned monster, too. If both of them testify, the police will have to believe it. But for now, she dropped to the floor with a thud. "If you're going to eat me, just do it quick. I can't beat you. I can't outrun you. Whatever. Just end it." The werewolf blinked, then suddenly doubled over in laughter. After a long moment, he straightened and said slowly, "Help me with one thing, and I won't hurt you. In fact, I'll even give you a chance to get rid of me." Could that even be true? She thought, doubt churning in her mind. Yet, her head bobbed up and down like a pecking chick. After all, things couldn't get much worse than they already were. Just like that, she stood there like a lamb waiting for slaughter, letting Yen dangle the heart fragment in front of her. Strange. No reaction at all. Was it really just because of that band-aid? Or had he missed something crucial? As he pondered, the fragment accidentally brushed against her skin. A sharp sting shot through his fingertips, and in the next instant, the fragment surged into Suing's body like a current of electricity, vanishing completely. Both of them froze. Suing could feel something like liquid in her veins quietly flowing through her. Suddenly, a puff of white smoke swirled up, and the werewolf's true form emerged. They stared at each other in awkward silence for 2.5 seconds before Yen shifted back into human form, his eyes filled with suspicion. "What the hell are you?" Suing blinked in confusion. This was the first time she'd ever been called a monster by a monster. In her mind, she grumbled. "Seriously? You're the one covered in black fur. You look way more like a monster than me." Yen fell silent. She was supposed to be just a normal human. The fragment hadn't reacted to her at all before. And yet now she had absorbed it completely, even his own body. The thought snapped his patience. He hoisted her onto his shoulder without warning, ready to pack her up and take her away. Wait, what's going on? You monster. You're breaking your word. Didn't you say if I behaved, you'd let me go? Yan's face twisted in irritation. Shut up. You think I want to get tangled up with a human? His plan now was simple. Take Suing back to the wolf den and figure out exactly what she was. But after a few steps, he suddenly stopped. Suing followed his gaze and saw two werewolves sneaking up on a drunken man, clearly ready to pounce. Yen set her down on the branch of a nearby tree, muttered a brief warning, and leapt away. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind the two werewolves and took them down instantly. The captured wolves stared at him in terror. You've got it wrong. We were just following that drunk guy. We didn't mean to trespass. Yan's gaze turned razor cold. So, you do know this is my territory, and you still dared to make trouble. Who gave you that courage? His fingers tightened, and the wolf screams tore through the night air up in the tree. Suing flinched. She didn't know exactly what was happening, but the drunken man seemed unharmed. Sometimes she wondered, was he killing or was he saving? Then a thought flashed through her mind. Later, Su Ting was dragged back. Only then did the sister put the pieces together. So, the situation is, if you stay away from that girl for too long, you can't even hold a basic human form. We'll have to figure out how to extract the fragment. Until then, you're not going anywhere. You're staying by her side. And so, Suing was taken to the so-called wolf den. She had imagined blue skies, open fields, and endless grass. Instead, she walked into a fully furnished 3-bedroom apartment, complete with a husky trotting over with a pair of slippers in its mouth. Second brother, change your shoes. I just mopped the floor this morning. Change shoes? Really? And how did this giant canine just stroll inside like that? What if the neighbors saw bringing her here? Did he really think she wouldn't try to run off and report them? She snuck a sideways glance at Yen. He caught her look and smirked. If I brought you here, it's because I'm not afraid of you talking. Go ahead, try it. Just like when you called the cops on me before, it won't work. Suing's cheeks flushed with anger, her hands balling up the hem of her dress. But before Yen could savor his smugness for more than 2 seconds, a familiar sensation hit him, and his expression darkened. Bang! In the next instant, he was back in wolf form, worse than before, and the poor husky's freshly cleaned floor. Suing remembered what the older sister had said. His ability to stay human seemed to depend heavily on her. The two locked eyes, and the same thought struck them at once. Wait, if I'm in a bad mood, does that make him transform? Suing froze for a moment. Then a spark lit up in her eyes. Wait, I can use this to stay alive. This is perfect. I'm saved. The thought instantly lifted her mood. As soon as Yen shifted back into human form, a tiny flower bloomed right on top of his head, and even his skin looked smoother and more flawless. Is there something on my head? He asked, frowning. Suing nodded, then quickly shook her head. She tried her best to hold back her laughter, but more flowers kept sprouting, making Yan's expression darken with embarrassment. You better keep your emotions steady. What's so funny about this? How can I not laugh at this? Sutting shot back, watching the odd human girl. She decided to use her ability to peer into Suing's future. But halfway through the spell, a sharp sting shot through her fingertips. When she looked up again, her eyes were filled with shock and confusion. After a brief silence, she shook her head at Yen, indicating there was nothing she could do. Yan's face darkened instantly. A heavy shadow fell at Su Ting, their eyes fixed on her as if she were some strange creature. Under 3 piercing gazes, she felt a chill creep up her spine. What? Do I have something weird on my face? Yen spoke slowly. Little quail, let's talk. Suing bristled. Little quail, what's that supposed to mean? You're the little quail. Your whole family's quails. She swallowed nervously. Fine, we can talk, but on one condition, you have to promise me something. Yen smirked. Well, the little quail knows how to negotiate. All right, let's hear it. Don't hurt me, and don't eat me. If you can do that, we'll talk. Suing boldly guessed that shiny fragment must be important to him, and his ability to transform into a wolf might depend on her, meaning she was safe for now. Yen gave a silent nod. All right, let's talk. But as soon as the words left his mouth, a single flower bloomed on top of his head, followed by more. Sutting couldn't help feeling delighted. She had been right all along. It's good to be alive. But in the next instant, a deep growl echoed through the room. Control your emotions. He flinched. Werewolves were still terrifying. Meanwhile, not far from the wolf den, a mysterious man was silently watching everything unfold. Inside, Yen took off his repairman jacket and casually tied it around his waist. Only then did he notice the girl staring at him. What are you looking at? Suing's eyes sparkled with curiosity. So, werewolves change into casual clothes, too. I thought you guys just wore one outfit until the comic ended. Yan's brows twitched. What kind of bizarre thought process was that? He stepped toward her, switching off the room's light. In the next second, he hoisted Su Ting over his shoulder. She was about to yell for help when he said calmly, I'm taking you home. Home. Her heart leapt with joy, and instantly a little flower bloomed on top of Yan's head. As they stepped outside, Yen shot the husky a meaningful look. The husky nodded knowingly. Got it, second brother. Someone's been skulking around over there, and so, Yen would take Suing home while Chun went to deal with the sneaky werewolf. Suing couldn't quite understand. Weren't they all the same kind? Maybe it was a world she didn't yet understand. One that was both mysterious and dangerous. So, her life was safe for now. That thought brought a wave of relief, and before she knew it, she was dozing off on Yan's shoulder, sound asleep. The next morning, Su Ting woke up in her luxurious bed at home. She bolted upright, desperate to confirm whether yesterday had all been a dream. But when she glanced down at her dirt-covered feet, the last bit of hope in her heart died instantly. Her mind started to work. First, it seemed the werewolf couldn't stray too far from her. Second, the last time he appeared, he'd been on the roof, peeking out the window. Sure enough, there he was. Persistent creep. She carefully climbed closer and found Yen asleep. But so he does sleep. Then again, wolves were supposed to be nocturnal creatures. Suddenly, inspiration struck. Yes, werewolves slept too. If they tried to take the fragment and hurt her, she could do what people did in TV dramas. With that thought, she quietly picked up a piece of broken tile, taking careful aim at Yan's chest. It turned out that after Yen had dropped Su Ting off last night, she had followed the scents straight to her place. Inside the room, the girl was sound asleep, and no matter how much Yen tried, he couldn't wake her. She was dumbfounded. This little human sure slept with no worries. Suing cracked her eyes open, still groggy. Talk about what? Didn't you say you wouldn't eat me? Yen blinked, then nodded lazily. Then good night. I've got nothing to talk about. With that, he flopped onto the bed and went back to sleep. You're doing this on purpose. Yen started to snap, but the older sister stopped him. Calm down. We still need her. Yen stared at the sleeping girl, a strange sense of irritation gnawing at him. Why did it feel like she had the upper hand? Moments later, the two were on the rooftop. She laid out 3 tasks for him. Discover Suing's ability and locate the heart. Keep her in a good mood and protect her from any harm. Hold on. Other than the first one, what is all this? Are we hunting for the heart, or am I babysitting? She shot him a cold glare. Got a problem with it? The heart fragment has bound the two of you together. Chose Sutting, and it chose you. That means this job is yours. Yen let out a bitter smile. You'd always been the one who hated humans the most. And lying on the rooftop, Yen spent the whole night thinking. If she's assumption was correct, would Su Ting's death be an accident? Murder, or at the hands of his own constowing climbing out the window, quietly approaching him? She picked up a broken tile and aimed it right at his heart. His eyes snapped open only to see her casually toss the tile away, muttering to herself, No way I could actually do it. Even at New Year, I'm not the one killing the chicken. Suddenly, a chill suddenly grabbed her hand and pressed it against his chest. Suing's eyes went wide. There was no heartbeat. None at all. Feel that we have no heart. Killing us the way you kill humans won't work. Su Ting swallowed nervously, her hand sliding over to the other side of his chest, then poking his skin out of curiosity. Yen jumped back 2.5 in alarm. What are you doing? Guess even a werewolf has to guard himself outside. Suing blinked her big, curious eyes. If you don't have a heart to pump blood, how do you even have skin color? Shouldn't you be like pale white? Wait, did you put on foundation before coming out? Yen was stunned by her bizarre train of thought. Is that really what you're worried about? Suing just shrugged. She'd already seen a living man turn into a giant dog, so no heartbeat wasn't exactly shocking. I'm not a dog.
Yen snapped.
Then are you a ghost? Why are you haunting me?
Y looked awkward.
Not a ghost either. I'm here because I need you to help us find something. Suing frowned.
Wow.
Asking for help while constantly scaring me. That's low. She had no interest in learning about the werewolf world. It sounded dangerous, and she had her own matters to deal with. So, she asked timidly, what if I say no? Yan's lips curled into a cold smile. You can TT run. The fragment chose you. Letting you make a wish is just to make things easier for both of us. Otherwise, I could just kidnap you again. It would just take a bit more effort. You've got 3 seconds. Make a wish or get tied up. Pick one. Wait. What happened to the rule of law?
Fine.
I'll make a wish.
Okay.
Looking at Yan's smug expression, Su Ting consoled herself. She'd just pretend he was some kind of wish-ranting turtle in a pond. All right then. I want 1 billion. Yen was speechless. Knew it. This little quail's brain was never on anything normal. Materialistic at such a young age. Pick another. Suing didn't say a word, but her expression screamed. You don't have that kind of money, do you? Yen arched a brow. This little girl was skilled enough to write insults right on her face. As he began his countdown, Suing blurted out in panic. Family. I want a home and a family. This time, it was Yan's turn to freeze. He glanced around at the luxurious villa surrounding them. Isn't this your home? Yes, she admitted softly. Your parents treat you badly then. No, they treat me very well. Then why make that your wish? Suing hesitated, embarrassed. I just want them to be like friends, to actually listen to me, encourage me, and be there when I need them. Yan's reply was cold and cutting. So, no one's ever done that for you. Your social life must be awful. Still, despite his words, he agreed. Fine, I'll be the one to give you that. Suing's heart skipped. Yes, that was her wish. But she definitely hadn't imagined Yen as the one to fulfill it. Forget it. Better to play along for now and escape when the chance comes.
All right then.
Let's see what your ability is, Yen said casually. Suing froze. So, the heart fragment could actually grant special powers. For example, Yen could control the flow of air at will. She could read people's thoughts. So, what kind of ability would she get from absorbing a fragment? He paused, thinking hard. Could it be like those superpowers in movies? Maybe fire breathing, water blasting, super strength. If she got something like that, she might actually shake Yen off for good. The thought made her grin. So much, so that the next second, a tiny flower popped up right above Yan's head. Clearly, she was already excited. Don't get your hopes up, Yen said cool. Even with an ability, you still wouldn't beat me. Suing's confidence faltered. Why not? You shouldn't underestimate people, you know. Because I'd be the one teaching you, Yen replied with a smirk. And if I teach you everything, what if you hurt me? I'm a very timid guy, you see.
Oh, right.
What were you planning to do with that tile just now? Suing's eyes widened. What is this guy? She could have sworn he hadn't even opened his eyes the whole time. Just then, a servant's voice called from downstairs. Miss Su Ting, are you awake? Crap. If they see me on a roof, I'm dead. She was about to hurry back inside when her foot slipped, nearly sending her tumbling off the edge. Luckily, Yen grabbed her by the collar just in time and tossed her straight back into the room. He was about to make a cool exit when something caught around his foot. Looking down, yep, it was Su Ting. With one hard pull, he yanked her right out through the window again. Seriously, this silly quail can't go 2 seconds without dancing on the edge of danger. The girl spoke softly. My name's Su Ting. I never asked. What's yours? Yen stared at her. You risked your neck just to ask me that. He shoved her back inside with one hand. It's Yen. Sutting looked up at him dead serious. So, Yen, what are you exactly? A demon, a monster, or Godzilla? Before he could answer, there was a rapid knock at the door. Miss Suing, are you still in bed? You'll be late for school. Coming. Coming. Suing was about to open the door when the werewolf behind her suddenly called out. I remember you've got a field trip today, he said with a meaningful look. As for what we really are, you'll find out once you get there. Back at school, Suing sat down only to find her desk stuffed with notes. Psycho. Liar. Don't come to school if you're crazy. Each slip was an eyesore packed with insults and slurs. She stared for a long moment, then sighed. Well, recycling pays 3 Malo. So, she was curious. She'd been the first one in class. When did they plant all these notes? Outside the door, 2 girls whispered, That little idiot is infuriating. Our classmate's hurt, and she's still spouting lies.